Welcome to Safety Wise Part 2. For more than 100 years, Girl Scouts has prided themselves on keeping girls safe in all activities. In Part 1 of this training, you learned about the two main documents that provide information for volunteers about safety, and that's Volunteer Essentials and the Safety Activity Checkpoints. You also talked about the first 3 of the 12 safety guidelines for Girl Scouts: following safety activity checkpoints, arranging for proper adult supervision of girls, and getting parent-guardian permission. In this training, we're going to continue to talk about the remaining guidelines, as well as what to do if an emergency occurs. Guideline number 4 is to report abuse. As Girl Scout volunteers, we are trusted adults in children's lives. That means that girls with a troubled home life may choose to share details with you. Volunteers in the state of Kansas are not mandated reporters as of the date of this recording, unless mandated as part of their profession. However, Girl Scouts of Kansas Heartland encourage you that if you are questioning whether a report should be made, that you err on the side of caution and make such report. Additional guidance can be found at www.dcf.ks.gov. Guideline 5 is to be prepared for emergencies. One volunteer with each troop is required to be certified in first aid and CPR. The presence of a first aid CPR certified volunteer is required for all activities outside of the troop's normal meeting space. Of course, it's highly encouraged for troop meetings as well. You never know when care may be needed. Troops should have a basic first aid kit available at all times, and some activities will require specific first aid supplies to be available. Check safety activity checkpoints for those details. Guidelines 6 and 7 are about travel, whether that's local, regional, national, or international. Be sure that you travel safely. All drivers and trip chaperones must be approved volunteers with memberships and background checks. That means a troop leader or a troop support volunteer. You can find details about whether the adults in your troop are approved volunteers in your MyGS member community. In the member profile, it shows you every adult's role as well as their background check renewal date. Also be sure to follow local guidelines for booster seats and car seats for the girls, depending on their age. Council approval is required for all overnight activities, near or far. From a sleepover in your local community to international excursions, the travel application gathers needed details for the council to review and provide approval. The travel application must be submitted at least 6 weeks before a 1 or 2 night overnight. Additional review time is needed for longer or international trips. See Volunteer Essentials Travel Appendix for complete details. Guidelines 8 through 11 all center around role modeling the Girl Scout promise and law. As a volunteer, you agree to live by Girl Scout values and teach those principles to the members of your troop. It should go without saying that volunteers should not gossip, talk badly about others, curse, smoke, or drink in front of the girls. Be sure to role model constructive conflict management also. When possible, conflict should be handled away from the troop meeting, and adult conversations should always be kept private. So remember, follow the Girl Scout promise and law when you're around your girls. Role model the right behavior, create an emotionally safe space, ensure that no girl is treated differently, and promote online safety. If you're friends with the families in your troop outside of Girl Scouts or participate with them in other organizations such as school activities or sports, set a clear boundary for Girl Scout time and non-Girl Scout time. The final guideline addresses product sales and money earning. During Girl Scout product sales, you're responsible for the safety of girls, money, and products. Volunteer Essentials Chapter 5 contains additional details about the financial side of money earning. As a nonprofit organization, there are specific requirements surrounding money earning activities. A wide variety of organizations, causes, and fundraisers appeals to Girl Scouts to serve as their labor force. When representing Girl Scouts, girls cannot participate in money earning activities that represent partisan politics or are not Girl Scout approved product sales and efforts. It is imperative that Girl Scouts do not partake in anything that can be construed as unrelated business income in order to protect our organization's 501c3 tax-exempt status. Be sure to complete financial management training and refer to Volunteer Essentials to learn more about the types of fundraising allowed, and requirements for council approval. As to the safety of girls during money earning, guidelines 1 through 11 still apply. There's even a safety activity checkpoint for cookies and product sales. Be sure to review it prior to each council-sponsored product sale. Many of those same principles will apply to additional money earning activities as well. Girl to adult ratios for non-meetings apply to cookie booths, as does the requirement to have health histories on hand. So now let's talk about what to do if an accident or emergency does occur. If an accident occurs, the first priority is care and treatment of injuries. One of the reasons 2 volunteers must be present with girls is so that in the case of an emergency, one adult can handle the emergency while the other supervises the rest of the girls. The accident report form is used to communicate details of the incident to council staff. It can be used for both medical concerns as well as behavioral concerns. All Girl Scout members are covered under a basic activity insurance. That means that if an injury occurs during an approved Girl Scout activity following volunteer essentials and safety activity checkpoints, then related medical expenses may be covered according to the terms of the insurance policy. The basic plan is secondary to your primary medical coverage. See the Mutual of Omaha brochure for details. If an activity will last more than 2 nights, the purchase of an extended activity insurance plan is required. Plans start at 11 cents per person per day with a minimum of $5. Also, if you're planning a family activity like a mother-daughter overnight or a family trip to the zoo, you'll want to purchase additional insurance that covers those non-members. And the plan's, again, 11 cents per person per day with a minimum of $5. Be sure to print a copy of the emergency procedure card or obtain one from your local council office. Each volunteer should have a copy of these procedures. On one side of the card, you have procedures that outline the steps you should take in worst-case scenario. The other side includes contact information for 3 council staff members who are always available to support you through an emergency. That usually includes our director of property, our program director, and our communications director, so that we can support you whatever the emergency situation may need. Thank you for beginning this great adventure. We've helped girls shine for over 100 years, and now you're part of that light. As always, questions, concerns, thoughts about what you need to do, advice about how to keep your girls safe, contact your local staff member, volunteer support specialist, and we'd be glad to help provide that advice for you.